Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Friday, December 16th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Public Health is investigating 2 cases of meningococcal disease in Halifax. Both of the cases involve Dalhousie students living in the same residence at Sheriff Hall. One is recovering in hospital and one has died. Meningococcal meningitis is an infection of the brain and spinal cord. Public Health say both individuals had the same strain of bacteria called serogroup B. The regional medical officer of health says at this time there is no increased risk to the general public or Dal community. According to public health guidelines, 2 cases of meningococcal disease within the same serogroup in one location over a short period of time is considered an institutional outbreak. Public Health is now holding vaccination clinics for the students and staff of Sheriff Hall this weekend. The meningococcal B vaccine is not part of the routine publicly funded vaccine program in Nova Scotia, but is available to those who are close contacts. Nova Scotia's Chief Medical Officer of Health held a news conference today about respiratory illnesses. Dr. Robert Strang says we're already 4 weeks into flu season and that influenza season has started much earlier than usual this year. An average flu season lasts about 8 to 10 weeks.
So across the province, we are still seeing a lot of respiratory illness. Respiratory viruses are circulating widely. Our COVID activity, however, continues to be quite low and stable. We have high RSV and influenza activity levels, but the levels we see over the last week are about the same as what we saw the week before. So this may be an early sign of stabilizing, but it's very preliminary, and we will need to watch carefully over the next few weeks. And we are also seeing some indications of our influenza cases shifting from a bit less in children into more into adults. We haven't seen any shift in terms of hospitalizations or severe illness.
With the holiday season upon us and many gatherings taking place, Dr. Strang is pleading for everyone to get their flu shot if they haven't yet. The healthcare system is already strained. Starting next week, children 6 months to 4 years old can get their COVID vaccine at the same time as other vaccines. A support protest rally was held in Halifax today to raise awareness about systemic racism. The workers of African descent employed with HRM are raising concerns about the treatment they say they're forced to endure. They allege that members of their group have been harassed, stereotyped, accused of stealing, and disrespected because they are of African descent.
If you are a supervisor or a superintendent and you're trying to hurt a people, the city, the municipality needs to change that.
The workers of African descent say their wish for Kwanzaa this year is respect and equal employment rights. Halifax Regional Police are investigating after a man walked into the Dartmouth General Hospital last night with a gunshot wound. Police say around 6:40, a 36-year-old man was found suffering from a gunshot wound at the hospital. His injuries aren't believed to be life-threatening. Investigators don't believe this is a random incident. There's no word on any suspects or where the man was shot. Sailors aboard the Canadian Navy's Arctic and offshore patrol ships are drinking bottled water after a significant amount of lead was found in a series of the ship's drinking water. National Defense confirmed an investigation revealed that some fittings and valves in the water system were manufactured from alloys that exceeded the allowable amount of lead. Irving Shipbuilding installed the fittings and valves on HMCS Harry DeWolf, HMCS Margaret Brooke, HMCS Max Bernays, and HMCS William Hall. The Canadian Forces is now conducting regular testing and providing bottled water for the crews on HMCS Harry DeWolf and HMCS Margaret Brooke. Similar measures will be put in place for HMCS Max Bernays, which has not yet started operations. If needed, the same will be done for HMCS William Hall, which will be delivered in the fall of 2023. Heading into the weekend, it's time for another Wine of the Week with SaltWire sommelier Mark DeWolf. We're officially immersed in office and neighborhood holiday party season, and this week, Mark has the right sparkling wine to celebrate with.
Okay, so holiday season, what do I want to drink? Well, it's not every time of year that I go to Bubbles, but this is the time of year that I drink some Bubbles. And when I'm thinking about Bubbles, I'm thinking either local Nova Scotian or I'm thinking France. So if you want to add a little French joie de vivre to your holiday celebrations, you could easily go to Champagne. And Champagne is the gold standard of sparkling wines. For good reason, they've been making high quality sparkling wines for many centuries. But sometimes we don't have champagne budgets. And I still love going to France, but I want to find a high quality sparkling wine without spending a lot of money. So when I look for a great alternative to champagne, I look for a word called crémant. So crémant is just a word that means the wine was made using the methods of Champagne, same way, but from areas outside of Champagne, places like Alsace and Bordeaux and Burgundy. So I want to introduce you to a wine that I think can really bring a lot of fun to your holiday entertaining. That's the Louis Bouillot Crémant de Bourgogne. So this means it's made in the Champagne method, or the méthode traditionnelle, but comes from further south in Burgundy. This one's really interesting and really kind of fruit forward because it uses Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and a grape called Gamay from Beaujolais. So that Gamay giving a real fruitiness and approachability to this. So if you like champagne, this will be a style wine you probably will like. It's not as assertive as champagne. It's more fruity, more approachable, but has a lot of the same qualities too. So for my bang for the buck, I'll probably spend about half as much as I would for an entry-level champagne buying this Crémant. So my wine for bubbles this week is Louis Bouillot Crémant de Bourgogne. And the nice thing about it is if I finish the bottle, I have no guilt to buy another.
To find more of Mark's wine tip and cooking classes, head to the Wine and Dine section of SaltWire.com. It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with singer-songwriter Andrea England.
Someone is never truly gone until the people who knew and loved them are no longer here. That until the memory is gone, it's almost like there's two deaths, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Which I think is why art is so important. And when I say art, I mean, I think, there's a lot of music out there. There's a lot of, paintings, whether it's the written word, whether it's visual arts, whatever it is. I think if you capture the truth of someone, that's eternity. That's the way that we preserve the memory, the joy, we teach the future generations. I think that's what we're trying to do when we write songs. We're trying to capture some sense of what it is to be human, and in doing so, maybe memorialize somebody close to us. But if we can be universal in that emotion that we're capturing, then hopefully it's not just my story; it's your story and somebody else's story. So, that's the goal when we're writing a song like this, for sure.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
SaltWire Network's Jason Simmons has a story at SaltWire.com about PEI teams participating in the first Minor Hockey Gives Back. Jason, what exactly is that?
Well, it's an opportunity, Scott, for people to support Santa's Angels at Christmas time. There are 9 minor hockey games in the city of Charlottetown on Saturday, December 17th, 5 at McLaughlin Arena, 4 at Simmons Sports Center. And at each game, people can drop off an unwrapped toy, make monetary donations, and also people can e-transfer donations to the Charlottetown Knights. And like I said, all the toys and proceeds from the donations will be forwarded to Santa's Angels to help out families at Christmas time.
How did it all come about?
Well, it's an interesting story behind that, Scott. The Charlottetown Knights major under 18 team, they were originally planning to do something similar for their game against provincial rival Kensington tomorrow. The Knights reached out to the Central Attack major U15 team to see if they could flip-flop ice times, because normally the Attack has a Saturday afternoon ice time slot, and the Knights game was scheduled for Saturday night, but the Knights thought it'd be nice to do this during the afternoon. And so when the Knights contacted the Attack, both teams got talking. The Attack expressed an interest in getting involved. So Attack assistant coach Morgan Rice and Knights assistant coach John McDougall sort of took the lead on it and did a lot of the work behind the scenes, and this kept growing and growing to the point where there's, as I said, 9 games throughout the day, and those games feature teams aged U11 right up to U18, and basically all levels in between.
Jason, it's a great thing that's happening, and we appreciate your time today explaining it.
Thank you very much, Scott. My pleasure.
You can learn more about the Minor Hockey Gives Back by visiting Jason's article at saltwire.com. In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now. To see what's coming up in the weekend forecast, we're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Happy Friday, Kate. Well, it was another gray, damp, cool day here in HRM. Still not bad, though, if you were out enjoying some outdoor activities. Many people head to provincial parks in the off-season to do some walking, including here at Oakfield Park. Now, if you are trying to get some steps in, it was probably a good day to do so because the weather this weekend is certainly not ideal for any outdoor activities. This evening, we will have showers or drizzle, and the temperature will be near 3 degrees. We rise overnight, starting the day near 4 degrees on Saturday morning, and we will have rain. Easterly winds of 30 to 50 kilometers per hour this evening will increase 40 to 70 on Saturday morning, and we could see some gusts up to 80 kilometers per hour on Saturday afternoon as that rain continues. Now, it's also worth noting, I think the temperature will be near 4 or 5 degrees in the city. However, further inland, Beaverbank, the airport, Mount Uniacke, the temperature will be a bit cooler, so at times a bit of wet snow could be mixing in, and this will also be the case in the Annapolis Valley, parts of the North Shore, northern Cape Breton. Over those higher terrain locations, we could see wet snow mixing in, and while I don't think it will be a significant accumulation, if you are traveling, you will want to take care this weekend. I know it is a busy weekend, the last full weekend before Christmas. This system will be lingering through Sunday, so we'll see showers or drizzle on Sunday, and the temperature will be near 4 degrees. Certainly not ideal weather this weekend, very wet and windy. Just be sure to take care if you are traveling, especially to areas like the Valley and even New Brunswick, where they are getting a significant snowfall this weekend. As I look ahead to next week, when people will also be traveling, we could see some calmer periods, but there is a storm possibly on the horizon next Friday, right before Christmas Eve, and that's one we will want to watch closely, and I'll have updates here next week. Have a great weekend. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at SaltWire Today. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here Monday.